Hey everybody, it's Chris, and tonight we're looking at the Opto Pioneer, Latitude64's newest overstable fairway driver. And when I say overstable, I am talking about like the Felon Ahti family range. So that's what we'll be comparing to. We got a Lucid X Felon, a VIP Ahti, and the disc that's going to be our main comparison tool, my Lucid Proto first run era Felon. Now the reason we're going to talk mostly, or show mostly, the Lucid Proto run Felon is because it's not quite as overstable as the other two. Still overstable for sure, a little more than maybe the stock run Felons currently, but not quite as overstable as those other two, and I found it to be a closer comparison to the Pioneer. That said, before we talk about all the similarities, let's talk about the one major difference you should know about, and I say major, but it's actually pretty tiny. The Pioneer's rim is 1.9 centimeters, the wing is, whereas the Felon and the Ahti are both 2.0 centimeter wing discs, so it is slightly narrower. But if I hadn't told you there was a difference, you might not feel it in the hand. The rim configuration is very similar. It's going to feel familiar, I will say, but it is slightly narrower. Even though it is narrower, I didn't see any difference or loss of distance from the disc. In fact, like I said, you're going to see mostly against the Proto Felon. Usually the disc that ended up the farthest out in the field, and I'm talking like maybe 5 feet farther normally, was the one I threw the cleaner line with. So if I got a slightly lower, flatter release on the Felon, it was probably going to get more distance. If I got the lower, flatter release with the Pioneer, it was probably more distance. And that was pretty consistent throughout testing. Now, like I said, the Proto Felon, not quite as overstable as the Lucid X or the Ahti, so it's a pretty good comparison, but I do think the Pioneer was just a touch more overstable. You're going to see it correct itself a little faster, you're going to see slightly more aggressive finish, but beautiful reliability, very usable, for sure. I think that's about all I have for you on this end. I'm going to pop one quick thing. There's not a ton of footage. I apologize. My knee's still a little messed up. Fortunately, it's an overstable fairway driver, so you know what it's going to do ahead of time. But I will try to get more footage and maybe a test thrower for like the recoil and other videos that are coming up soon. So watch for those. But Pioneer, once again, 1.9 centimeter wing, overstable fairway driver, compares favorably to the Felon or the Ahti. If you have any questions or comments, please put them below so I can get back to you. I love interacting and answering questions, especially like your question is, what does a Proto Felon fly like? Put that in there so I can get back to you and try to fill you in. And hope you enjoyed the footage. Keep watching for future videos, and as always, thanks for watching. Before we go out to the field, here's a side-by-side wing comparison. You can see the Pioneer and the Lucid X Felon are pretty similar. And here's the field I'll be throwing in, approximately 300 feet, but of course in snow. 75%, you can see a nice straight flight before the disc's overstability really kicks in and takes it back to center. Powering it up again, nice straight flight, just a little bit farther this time. This is going to end up just past the basket and of course left. Next couple of shots are off-axis torque, just throwing them over on purpose. You can see it corrects itself nicely. This ends up getting within 15 feet of the basket before it's a tree. And then here's again off-axis torque where it says off the line, but you're going to see the Felon shot that I'm trying to match it for. One last shot. Pretty close to a hyzer release, giving it some height, keeping me on the right side, letting it swing back. Okay, so let's begin disc comparisons. First up we have the Lucid X Felon. Both of these discs are thrown low and flat, but the extra stability of the Lucid X Felon causes the left side of the wing to dip down, trying to get to that ground just a little bit faster, not quite as much distance because of it. The VIP Ahti is actually very similar to the Lucid X Felon, but you can see I missed the line high right. That extra height is going to cause the disc to act more overstable just because the wing is going to have more time to dip, meaning it's going to go a little bit farther left for me. And here's the disc that is going to get most of the comparison. You can see similar releases here. The Lucid Felon is going to stand up just a little bit longer, but finishing, they're going to be almost right next to each other. And I'm actually going to include a picture here because this was pretty common. Not necessarily this close, but this was within 5 feet on that finish. So we're going to have 4 comparison throws here. On this first throw, the Felon was thrown a little bit higher, and you're going to see it's going to have a steeper angle coming in because of that, which will also actually result in less skip, so these discs will end up right next to each other. On the second and third throw, these are going to be intentionally forced over. You're going to see this is the mild force, keeping them fairly straight. But this is the biggest difference I found between these two discs, is the Felon actually holds that forced over ante for a little bit longer, whereas the Pioneer corrects faster. And that's going to cause it to stay a little bit more left, whereas the Felon's going to drift more for you. And this is going to demonstrate that even more. You're going to see the Felon just holds that forced over ante quite a bit longer and is going to end up significantly more right. This was the largest difference between the two discs. in all the testing that I did. And here's just a more hyzer release. Again, the Felon's going to be a little bit, well, on this one the Felon's going to be a little bit lower, but again, because of the way the discs are coming into the ground, they're actually going to end up in pretty similar spots. One skips more than the other. So to wrap up, Pioneer is Latitude's newest overstable fairway driver. Its 1.9 centimeter rim is slightly narrower than the Felon or the Ahti, but it doesn't lose any of that overstability or distance. If you like this video or found it informative, please feel free to like it, share it, or even subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the recoil. Here we go out to the field. I'd heard the recoil was going to be trespass or flow-esque, but I didn't count on the extra stability. You can see the flow stands up, turns out, comes back to center. The recoil never stands up, just goes left. This could be interesting. Stay tuned.